frame the entire session, our half hour that we have together, in how we can efficiently use Google Chrome, some of the tips and tricks to make your life easier. So that way we can get the most out of this really powerful web browser. So I gave a handout here to Kelsey. She put it in the chat. She can email it out after the fact. So instead of presenting from a slide deck like I normally do, I actually put all these bullet points into a handout. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but it's helpful then that you can have these to kind of reference, go back. You can see some of them will have specific directions, like click the 3-dot menu in the top to see where it is. So that way, if you don't remember something, you can go back and review it in here. And then also these live in recordings that you could go back and watch too. So, all right, so we're going to talk Google Chrome. And it's one of my favorite things to talk about because it is the tool that if you live online, it is from my money is the best web browser that is out there and available for people to use. It has the most power. It's also the operating system behind a Chromebook. So if you know how to use Chrome on a PC or a Mac, you also know how to operate a Chromebook, which can be super helpful there too. So with Google Chrome, I'm actually going to abandon kind of the view here, but we are going to talk first about using bookmarks and the benefits of using bookmarks. So when you open up Chrome, and I'm going to kind of minimize this and go into a blank Chrome screen here, a new tab screen in Chrome. One of the things that we're looking at here in Chrome is our ability to navigate to get to different websites. And we want to make this a quick process for everybody. So, I work and live inside of Chrome. And so I'm constantly in here. And one of the things that helps me with that is the efficiency of some of these things that we can use to get to places quicker. So when I see people struggling with efficiency and using Chrome, one of the things I like to work with them on is bookmarking. So that way we can get to the websites that we use frequently, really quick and easily. So for example, if I use Gmail, okay, so Google's email account, and their email engine, and if I go to Gmail, okay, so our internet went out earlier this morning, so we're hoping that doesn't happen again. It has only happened like twice in the 7 or 8 months we've been in this office, but it was just very strange. So, all right, so here's my Gmail. So one of the things that I like to show people is bookmarks. How do we make them? Where do they come from? How do we do it? And so once I'm in Gmail, I want to bookmark this page because I want to be able to get to my mail as often as I want to. So to do that, it's actually pretty straightforward. Up here, you have the box where you would type in the URL to get to it. If you want to get really nerdy and impress your friends, you can call that the omni box because that's what Google calls it. So Google calls that the omni box, even though it's not a box because it's got rounded edges now, but it used to be a box. So it's called the omni box. In the box, all the way at the end, you're going to see a star. To bookmark a website that you're at, you want to click that star. And when you hit the star, it'll say bookmark added. Okay. Now, one of the key components here is when it says that, it's going to tell you that this page is saved to, and in this case, it says other bookmarks. Okay. Now, what that did was if I close this out, it created this new folder that wasn't there before. And then you can see I now have, like if I open that up, I'm going to have this folder that's called, in this all bookmarks area. I don't like that. Okay. So I'm going to actually unstar that. I'm going to remove that bookmark and we'll start over because one of the things that I want to make sure you do is that you click on the star and then instead of it saying this page is saved to other bookmarks, we're going to click edit. And now where it says folder, all bookmarks, I'm going to change that to bookmarks bar. Okay. So the bookmarks bar is where we want to add everything. And I'll make sure that that's on my sheet here. And then I'm going to do that right now. Bar. There we go. The reason why we put it on the bookmarks bar is that's because it's going to drop it right below the Omnibox. So you see now I have this Google email inbox icon right here. Okay. If you don't have that, again, this is going to be on the sheet, or it should be. If it's not, I'll add it. You want to make sure that you click on the 3 dots, go to bookmarks, and then show bookmarks bar, which is not here because I think in my account it's already determined. Oh, there it is, hide bookmarks bar, but it'll say show bookmarks bar. Okay, because that is our bread and butter here. Okay, so is the show bookmarks bar. Okay, that is so important because now you see I have that bookmark here. I'll do it again. If we go to another website, maybe that we go to a lot, like Amazon. Let's type in a code. I've never accessed Amazon from this. There we go. All right. So I'm on Amazon. I want to bookmark Amazon. I will again click on the star. Make sure it says this page is saved to bookmarks bar. Does. Perfect. Hit done. Now notice I have Amazon right here as well. So the key and why we do that is because if I want to get back to Amazon, I can just click on that and now I go to Amazon. So by bookmarking things and putting them in our bookmarks bar, we're able to get to those websites quicker and easier than what we would have otherwise been able to do. So some of my suggestions for bookmarking is to make sure that you have your email bookmarked, make sure you have maybe your banks bookmarked, your credit card accounts bookmarked. And those websites will then get you there quicker. Amazon, whatever websites you use a lot, you want to add to your bookmarks bar. So that way it makes your life more efficient to get to those websites quicker and easier. I'll show you my example here. I have a lot of bookmarks on my bookmarks bar. Some might say I'm hopelessly addicted to bookmarking things. You'll notice that my bookmarks bar looks a little bit different though. When I go back to my kind of test account here, I have names and words next to those bookmarks. And the reason for that is because that's what Chrome defaults to. Is Chrome takes whatever is up here, and I can't zoom in, but whatever's up here in the tab name, and they put that in the bookmark name. So this is kind of bookmarking 2.0. But what I want to make sure you see this so that way you know, one of the things I like to do is if I say this and I see it says Amazon.com dot special or spend, whatever, it's a long name. I don't have that much room on my bookmarks bar. I want to kind of put as many things on my bookmarks bar as possible. So I want to change the name of that bookmarks bar. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to right click on the bookmark, go to edit, and then now you see where it says name here, and it says Amazon.com spend less, smile more. That's way too long. I can adjust that. So I could actually just delete that and have it say Amazon and hit save. So now it just says Amazon, so it's a lot less. Or the next step in this is to right click, edit it again. And this is kind of my favorite thing to show people is that I then delete the name completely. And when I delete the name completely, I don't necessarily delete the bookmark. It's still going to be there, but watch what happens. See up here, you can kind of see in the background, it says Amazon and it's got the logo. If I delete the name and hit save, now the name and the text is gone, but the logo is still there. So with the logo being there, I know that's Amazon's logo. So as long as you know what the logo is, you can keep those bookmarks and now you can add more. So if I go back to Gmail and I edit that, and now I'm just going to delete the name and I hit save. Boom. Now you can see how much extra space I have saved on my bookmarks bar, and I can add more bookmarks to my bookmarks bar. So for me, if you look again at my account, I have a whole bunch of logos up there, and I know what everyone is because they're the websites I visit the most. But it frees up space in order to have more bookmarks on my bookmarks bar. Okay, so it's super helpful because I'm like, oh yeah, that's YouTube, that's Pinterest, that's Amazon, that's my bank, that's my other bank, credit card, Ally Bank. Like, I've got all of those things that I can now quickly like open up a new tab and say, all right, I want to go to YouTube. I can just go to the YouTube logo there, click on that, and now I'm at YouTube. I want to go to Google Keep, click on that and go to Google Keep. So being able to edit the name of the bookmark is extremely helpful in managing what that bookmarks bar looks like and my ability to add a lot to it. In some cases, you might not want to delete the name fully because maybe it's like if you bookmark the website, same website twice, like you want to go to two different areas of the website in order to access it. You can just change the name of that bookmark. So like I could just, instead of having Amazon be the name here, I could right click, I could edit that, and I could just say like spending money. And now that's what it says right there. So you don't have to actually have the name of the thing. You can name it whatever your heart desires. Whatever makes sense to you, you can have it. But for me, my favorite thing to show people is to free up that space is to just delete the name, have save, and now you can bookmark a ton of stuff on your bookmarks bar. So that's my number one tip. So when Kelsey reached out about this question, this was the thing I wanted to spend the most time on because I'm like, bookmarks bar, number one, changing the name, number two, are your two big takeaways from this. So those are kind of step one, in our bookmarking. So we want to be able to bookmark, we want to be able to change the name, and we want to go. Now, the next thing that we can do in bookmarking is we are able to organize our bookmarks like we organize files on our computer. And that's the ability we can create folders that we can put bookmarks in. So again, something that is like kind of like if you have a bunch of bookmarks that all relate to one thing, I can make a folder and put those bookmarks all in that folder to keep those sites, those websites all organized in one spot, which can be super helpful. So if I wanted to do that, I can go here on my bookmarks bar, anywhere on my bookmarks bar, and I can right click on it. Okay, so it's a right click, and then you have your options that open up here. And then down here at the end, you see you have it, or towards the bottom of the drop down, you have an option to add a folder. Okay, so I right click, I add a folder, and then I'm going to name the folder. So I'm going to name this work. And when I hit save, you'll see that the work folder will go underneath the bookmarks bar. So when I hit save on that, now if I open this up and I look this to edit this, or I'll go rename, that's what I want to do, Bookmarks Manager, just so you can see it here. You see there's the folder, and then there's the folder underneath of it. So if I, was to kind of compare that to how I organize files, I have my documents, and then I have my pictures, right? So it's very similar to how you organize files on your computer. You're just organizing bookmarks instead of files. So I have my work folder here. So now if I wanted to find something to put into that, maybe I want to go into Google Drive. So I have Google Drive. I want to bookmark Google Drive, but it's a work task. So I'm going to click bookmark. And then right here, it says this page is saved to bookmarks bar. That's what we talked about first. It defaults to your bookmarks bar. From here, you can say, nope, that's not where I want it to go. So you can click on that, and then you would just have to select work. And now it's in your work folder. However, let me show you something that's pretty neat. We're going to go ahead and actually remove this bookmark so we can start over. So I don't have anything in the work folder. If I click on the bookmark and I put this on my bookmarks bar instead, okay, so now if I click on this, it's in the bookmarks bar. You can see it here. You're like, shoot, that's not where I want it. I want it in the work folder. All you have to do is click and drag it into the work folder. So again, it's very similar to if I have a file here and I say, I don't want that folder in this folder. I can click and drag it and put it into another folder, which I just did, and I don't want to do that. But you can click and drag it and move it. You can do the same thing with your bookmarks up here. So if you're new to this and you're like saying like, oh man, like I got the bookmarks thing set up, bar, it's going to my bar, but like I don't want it to keep going, to like if I have, let's see, what's another website that I can use for work? Let's use Google Maps as an example. So I want to bookmark Google Maps, but I don't want to have to keep like adding and changing it here because it keeps, and actually this just defaulted to my bookmarks bar. I can just click and drag it and move it over here. So that's a really helpful tip, like knowing that you can click and move your bookmarks on your bookmarks bar. In a similar fashion, if you don't like the order that they're in, and you want Amazon to be before Gmail, you can click and move it over. So you can click and move your bookmarks around on your bookmarks bar to put them in an order that makes sense for you. As a, again, you saw my personal account, but for my work account, it is like incredibly chaotic. Here you can see all of the bookmarks that I have, but they're all in an order that makes sense because my Gmail is first because I'm in my Gmail all day, every day. And then my Drive or my calendar is second because I open that up right away. My chat for work is next. And then my Drive, they're kind of going in priority of like how I use them for the day. And I just keep them in that order. So that way they are able to, I can just go in when I start the day. I'm like, okay, I open up Gmail, I open up calendar. There it is. I open up chat and open up Drive. They're all right there. So I don't have to keep going around and typing in URLs and things like that. Okay. Does this apply to Apple devices as well? Yes. And so kind of. It applies to Macs because you can have Chrome. Okay. So anything in Chrome. It also does apply to your phones if you use the Chrome web browser. So I use the Chrome browser on my phone. And when I go into my Chrome browser, I'm able to tap the three dots in the bottom corner of the screen. And then you'll see that I have up here my bookmarks right there. And now I have that same list of bookmarks that I have on my computer are in my phone as well. So I'm able to go in and say, oh, okay, I want to get to, most of these are apps, but say AccuWeather. Like I have Dixon, Illinois, where I live, bookmarked for AccuWeather. That's not an app. I don't have an app for that, but I want to get it on my phone. I can go in and I can find that there. So as long as you're using the Chrome browser on your phone and you're signed into the same account, that's key. Then yeah, the bookmarks transfer between the two, which is like crazy helpful when you need to get to something, right? Like there's one time, like I think my bank app was down and it wasn't working, and I wanted to get into my account, and I was like, all right, I can just go in and find the bookmark really quickly to get to that account, fast like that way. So yeah, it does as long as you have that Chrome set up on there and you sign into it on the same account. Good question.
Thank you. I have another question. So the way that you had mentioned having your bookmarks set up in the order that your day goes. So I do that with, I have all my tabs open, but then sometimes you accidentally hit the X and away goes everything. And then you have to go into your history. But if somebody else comes in and uses your computer, it messes things up and things are gone. So I like that you said, that it just makes it easy to click back into them.
Yes. And here is a trick for that. So I have a cure that's we're getting off of bookmarks for a second, which is fine because actually we've kind of exhausted like a lot of like the main keys of bookmarking here is folders, names, and there's a couple of things here that I want to break down for you, because if that happens and you with a tab, at least we'll start with just a tab, and you're in Google Maps and you accidentally click out of it and you're like, I want that tab back. There are now two places in Chrome, or there's two things you can do in Chrome to get that tab back. One is a shortcut. Okay, so you can write this down. If you do Control Shift and the letter T. Okay, so if on your keyboard you go Control Shift and T and you hold them all at the same time, watch what happens. It comes back. And so that brings back your most recently closed tab, because it happens to me every day. And every day I use Control Shift T, or if on a Mac, it's Command Shift T. Like that's my favorite one to do. So it's just boom, boom, boom. Now, Google also just updated Chrome not too long ago. Right up at the top next to your tabs in Chrome, there's this little drop down arrow now. And then when you click on that, you can see all of your open tabs, and then you can also see all of your most recently closed tabs, which is pretty sweet. So if I close out that Google Maps and I can't remember that shortcut that Ben told me on the webinar, look for that little arrow and then look at right here, recently closed Google Maps, right at the top of the list. Click on that, boom, open. So if you do get a little tabalicious and you got a lot of tabs open at the top, that little arrow, which is a pretty new update, is pretty cool because now you can actually see like what tabs you have open, then also the ones that you just recently closed. So it's not like the thing with the shortcut is it's always going to open up the most recently closed tabs in order. So if I keep hitting like Control Shift T, like it's going to keep opening up stuff, but it's going to do it in order. And it's like, well, I closed that tab 3 tabs ago. I don't want to open up mail and bookmarks and all that other stuff. Yep. Click on that. Find those recently closed tabs. Open it up. And there you go. You're able to get in.
And that's just for if you close the one, accidentally close one tab, but the way at work, my computer is set up, there's the X in the top right corner, and it will close out everything that you've got. It will close out Chrome. And so it's
So
like,
if Chrome's,
dang.
yes. So if Chrome's still running, and also you'll notice though, like you can open up a new window. So if I close this all out and then I go back in and it's just fresh and you're like, ah, what was that stuff I was just working on? Click on the arrow, you'll see your recently closed tabs all the way from 29 minutes ago are all still right here. So I can get back into it and I can see those, I can get back in and open them up. The other thing too is if you do it by accident, now this is where you have to get it's a little bit more specific. But if you close this tab out, and this is getting a little nerdy, but like if you have like the same profile open, okay, so I'm actually gonna remove that profile right here. If I close this tab out and I still do Command Shift T, nope, it didn't work because I got too many profiles open. So my trick's not going to work because I got too many things going on. If you just had you on your device and you do that, you close the tab out and Chrome is still running, you can do Command Shift T and it'll bring back your window and all your tabs that you
Oh,
closed
okay.
out by accident.
So I don't
And
have to go to
you can
the three
also-
dots to history.
Right.
Yeah, that's another option.
Yep. History would be another option that you could bring those back. But yeah, if you just bookmark those things that you use all the time up here, you can just click in and find all the stuff that you use every day.
And if I'm not seeing the arrow that's on ours, does that mean that my Chrome hasn't been updated maybe?
Potentially, yeah, because I've been seeing it for a while. I'm looking on my Chromebook. Oh, I just minimized that down here to see if it's there too. Which it's not, because it's not on a Chromebook yet. Because Chromebooks are slightly different. But yeah, it should be there. But maybe it's just,
Minnesota doesn't have it yet. No.
yeah, maybe you guys just haven't got it that far north yet. I don't know.
I think it's more that it hasn't been updated.
Yeah, or maybe it's just an update that needs to be happening too. So, but yeah, that's my best. Control Shift T, Command Shift T brings them back, but also just look for either that or have them bookmarked so that way you can get to them quickly. So, yep.
So I have a question for you. What happens when I'm like, hey, I want to find a bookmark, but I don't know where I put it, or what I labeled it? Any good search?
Yes. So in that case, you're going to go to your 3 dots in the right-hand corner of your screen, and you're going to go to Bookmarks and Lists here. And this is going to give you all your bookmarks over here. But what I would suggest is if you don't know, you're like, I'm pretty sure I bookmarked that thing, don't know where it is. You want to look for your Bookmarks Manager. Okay, so 3 dots, Bookmarks and Lists, and then Bookmarks Manager. And what that's going to do is bring up a whole new tab that just says Bookmarks Bar, Work, Other Bookmarks, but then you have a search feature. So you can then search for that. So I could look and I could say Drive, and then it'll pop up. But like on this case, Drive is in my work folder. So I couldn't see that when I was here, but I'm like, I know I bookmark Google Drive. Like, where does that exist at? And then you just look for Drive, and there it is. And then you can click on the 3 dots over here. You can say Show in Folder, because what that'll do is say, like, it'll tell you like where it exists at. It'll say, oh, it's over here in Work. So your Bookmarks Manager is the place that you can go to like find and see if you did in fact bookmark that particular website. And you can search for it.
Very helpful, thanks.
Yep. Any other questions that I can answer in regards to bookmarks? So I'm going to give you guys a bonus Chrome tip here. Okay, a couple of new things. Hopefully they have made their way to Minnesota. And that we're able to do this. But if you one of the things that's pretty neat that we can do in Chrome is if you have this work, I guess this falls in line with bookmarks. If I put my Gmail into work here, I'm going to remove Google Maps. But if I have my Drive and I have Gmail in this bookmark, if you right click on the folder, you can say open all, and it'll open both of those up at the same time. So like if you bookmark, say you have a thing that's like, this is my start the day apps that I use every day, and you put them into a folder and you don't want to have to click on each individual one, you can put them into a folder and right click and say open all, and then it'll open them up. Or you say open all in new window, and then that'll open them up in a new window together. So that's like a quick way of like saying like, hey, I want to have these things all open up at the same time. You can do that. So that could be a helpful little tip there. This is more like 2.0 Chrome stuff, but this is another, that was not a new feature. This is the new feature that I was going to tell you about. If I want to, again, we're talking about like keeping things together and organized to be more efficient. So if I'm working and I have like Drive, Gmail, we'll say calendar open as well. So these are kind of my core tools that I'm using for my workday. I can right click on the tab up at the top. And if you want to have some fun, just right click on a tab and see all the different things you can do with it. But this is one that's a new feature. You can say add tab to new group. It's the third one down. When you do that, it's going to ask you to name the group. So I'll just say like work. Then you can change the color of it, which is fun. And then now I can go over to my Gmail. I can right click on that and I can say add tab to group. And then I can group it together with the work. And then I can right click on the calendar, add tab to group. I can say work. And now you'll notice, it's kind of hard to see, I guess green was a poor choice of color there. Let's change that to red so it stands out a little bit better. You can see it, they're all got that red kind of underline on them, letting you know that they've been grouped together. And if I open up a new tab, that red line doesn't extend. And so what this allows me to do is actually to keep these all open. But if I click on the word work, it collapses them all down. And then I can, when I need to get back to those, I can click and I can open them all back up. So again, if you have a ton of tabs open, you can kind of keep them all, the ones that make sense together, grouped together, and you can close them. You don't close them, you just like minimize them, and then you can open them back up, and then you can minimize them and open them back up. And then this is the brand new feature with this. If you right click on the word work, you can see you now have the option to save the group. You previously, once you closed Chrome, your group was gone. If I save the group, now you see there's that little save button there. And then now you see I have this little thing here on my bookmarks bar that says work. And so I can actually like close these out. Oh, where'd that go? I'm sorry. I don't want to close them out. I want to save the group. I messed that up. I want to hide the group. Now they're gone. Okay. So that was my bad. Don't close them out. Closes the group out. But now I hide the group. And if I want to get those back, I can just click over here. And now my group is back and returned to what it should be. So that's kind of fun, as a newer feature inside of Chrome. So it's kind of like a bonus bookmark type thing. You're sort of bookmarking just a group without creating a folder. So yeah.
We're hitting time, so I just want to make sure
Yeah.
if anybody has any last questions. The other thing, if you get a second to hit on, is the reading list. I've never seen that before.
Oh, so the reading list is kind of neat. Like you can add, say, like a website that you go to. So let's go to espn.com. Find an article here. And if I wanted to add that to a reading list, I can do that. And that just allows me to kind of like keep what it does is it kind of allows me to keep, like I say, add tab to reading lists. And then now I can go in, I can look at that. And it's like essentially it's like a kind of like your bookmarking stuff, but like it's like not important enough to bookmark it. So like you can kind of bookmark articles without having to like bookmark the whole site, right? So it just kind of keeps it here. And then now if I go to a new tab, I can click on that and it goes there. And it's like, okay, I read that. You can just check the box and it tells you that you read it. And now you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, that little icon will pop up too. And you can say, okay, I want to get rid of that, or I don't want that reading list, So yeah, the reading list is kind of like a way of bookmarking articles, but maybe they're not important enough to deserve their own bookmark. I've done that before. I've got on flights before. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like read this later, and like when I'm on the flight. Now, it doesn't like save them offline. Like when I did it for the flight, like I had to make sure I still had Wi-Fi like on the flight, but like it just at least like allowed me to like save all these articles to read without having to, go back through and search them or have 72,000 tabs open. And
It
again,
also looks like it does a cool bar on the side that you can.
yeah, it makes this nice, cool like list on the side for you that you can check out.